Welcome back to the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every week on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Audio versions of the show are available through all the audio versions on Anchor. And if you'd like to contact the show, you'll get us at the underscore upper underscore tier on Twitter, or you'll get us on Facebook and Instagram, the Upper Tier. Joining me again, as always, my partner for these shows. This is your Premier League preview match week 2. Craig, how we doing, my man?
Very good, no. Thanks for having us back on.
Not a bother at all, my man. Let's kick it off, of course, the early morning one on Saturday, 12:30, lunchtime. Let's go.
Yeah,
Liverpool versus Burnley at a full Anfield.
yeah. I think a lot of the clubs benefit, having fans back in the stadium more than others. Like it was nearly like a 12th man. That definitely plays its part for Liverpool, as we know. You expect Sean Dyche to go out with the usual blockade and frustrate us. I think overall, I think we can get the job done though with the fans back and coming off a good win. I'm probably gonna go myself. I'd say 3-0 Liverpool and another clean sheet though. I don't see them really offering too much unless it's a set piece or a free kick, something like that they will a corner. But I think it's gonna be us with a lot of the ball in front of them, trying to dictate and trying to break them down. We do owe Burnley one. No, but I think we can go mirror the Norwich. I think I'm going to go 3-0 Liverpool, get the ball rolling for the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Good shout. I'm similar thinking to that as well. Aston Villa, Newcastle.
Yeah, well, Aston Villa, one of the teams that let me down on week 1, so fair play to them. I think that, I was a bit kind of like, I should have kind of waited until, they signed all these new players and all. And, they've never played together, first week of the Premier League. Watford have a buzz of coming up, playing at Vicarage Road. The team's been together basically nearly the whole season, bar I think maybe an odd player they signed. New manager, I'm not really familiar with him, but it'd be good to see if he can do a good job overall with Watford. Villa came off the back of the fee. Dean Smith obviously won't be happy with that, regardless of the new signings embedded or not. Newcastle, I believe they were winning, weren't they? And then they just kind of crumbled.
Yeah,
That's at St James
they were
Park
two
as
0 up
well.
and they got beaten 4-2.
2-0 up against West Ham. Anyone be happy with that, but you have to see it out in the Premier League, or this is what happens. I'm gonna go for Villa to I'm gonna pin me master Villa. I really worry for Steve Bruce and Newcastle, to be completely honest.
Yeah, Villa really. This is a big game actually because both teams had bad results.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first weekend, you know what I mean? I mean, Newcastle were in the driving seat and they let it slip away against a West Ham team. And Aston Villa, of course, the shock defeat of the weekend. I think that was the one that broke most people's accumulators. They
And
would
Villa
have had
fought
Villa
back,
really as a banker,
didn't
yeah.
they?
Yeah, they finished 3-2.
Villa won't worry, I don't think, if Newcastle will get a goal because they'll see what happened already. So that'll be in their mind. But I'm gonna go 2-0 Villa.
I'm thinking 2-1 Villa.
Yeah.
That's my thinking. I think it'll be tight enough because Villa are still trying to figure themselves out. Dean Smith still has a lot of work to do there. And Brucey just needs to get something going there, because he'll have, with the fans being back as well, you know what I mean? Once he goes back home again,
they let you know.
they'll be on him, Crystal Palace versus probably, you would say, maybe potentially our second team, if you like, this season, Brentford.
I'm up for Brentford.
Yeah.
I love them. Now look at Crystal Palace. Now disrespect, it was nearly a foregone conclusion. They're away to Chelsea at the bridge. That's hard for anybody. Any stage of the season, especially for Patrick Vieira, first Premier League game under his belt. Away to Stamford Bridge. What do you expect? He's another one probably finding his feet. He's new. The players are relatively new, most of them. Obviously, a lot of them left on older contracts that didn't get renewed. Brentford, absolutely outstanding. I know people say Arsenal are really bad, but you have to give Brentford immense credit because they were outstanding. They were fully deserved the win, fully deserved the clean sheet. And I think they could nick this on the basis of the buzz you must have got for beating the likes. Still, it's still Arsenal at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Patrick still trying to probably tinker and figure out what his best kind of way out is. You know, I know it's a different opposition, a different kind of quality, but Brentford must be on some buzz. And no disrespect to Palace, but these are the games Brentford be looking at getting 3 points from on the fixture list, I think, as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see if Brentford come and play that kind of little bit of open attacking play that they did
I
against
think they
Arsenal.
will. I think he's going to do that regardless, Thomas Frank. You know, that's
Yeah.
the way he is.
Or will
I'm going to go.
will they be more cautious and just play open play back at the new stadium, Hopefully
This
not.
is a tough one. I'm going to go 2-1 Brentford.
I'm thinking a draw.
A score draw.
Yeah, I'm thinking a score draw. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what way Brentford sets up and how they play away from home. Are they going to be like, that's the fear sometimes with these teams that come up. They only have one style of play, and when they go away from home, they just get rinsed because they're wide open. You know what I mean?
But
So
Palace might be looking at it as in getting off board now.
yeah, yeah. I just think I'd be a little bit concerned if they just go gung ho. You know what I mean? Because there is players on the Palace side that can score goals. You know what I mean? There's no doubt about that. So, but it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. But it's a very interesting tie in there.
Yeah.
Another big one coming up: Leeds versus Everton back at Ellen Road, full house.
That's like a good game on paper, I think, as well. Everton coming off a good win under Rafa, but in a way, again, you would have kind of had Everton probably at home as a banker. Southampton are in dire straits, like absolute awful state. Leeds, I didn't see that coming last week at all. I think I called a draw because I thought Bielsa would go there and continue his good run against the top four, if you want to call them. They just really, really need to tighten up, don't they? Like, I know that's not just his way, but they really, really do need to tighten up, like, at the back. Like, what will he get? Rafa against Bielsa is a very interesting battle, actually. You know, we haven't really seen that. That's a hard one to call. That's, will Leeds reply, which I'm sure they're gonna be under massive scrutiny from Bielsa for that kind of performance. Rafa will obviously want to build. I'm gonna go score draw on this one.
Score draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at Everton. I mean, they went 1-0 down last week as well, which means they concede, but then they came back and, the cream would rise to the top there in terms of against Southampton,
Yeah.
so they won out in the end. But Leeds is a kind of a weird one. It's kind of like, do you kind of judge them on last week's performance in terms of, I mean, that was an outstanding Man United performance, in fairness.
As well.
And to be honest with you, when you look at the game and how it unfolded, once it moved on from the draw situation where Ayling scored an absolute wonder goal, it was kind of like, it looked as if Man United were so much fitter than Leeds in terms of their speed.
Yeah, and Leeds play very, very high.
Yeah, to me,
intense football.
Leeds looked like as if they hadn't even had a pre-season. They didn't look fit, like, you know what I mean, in terms of this is the first week, let's get things going, But I would expect Leeds to try and bounce back this week, but I don't know. I wonder will Everton have too much for them. I just think Everton.
I'm gonna go 2-2.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-1 Everton. But again, I'm trying to understand that that whole full Ellen Road again, what effect that will have as well. But I think I'm gonna go 2-1 Everton. I think the quality that Everton have there, I think might be a bit too much for them. And Benitez is a masterclass at these things as well.
Yeah.
So interesting to see. Love to get Leeds off to a winning start there at Ellen Road with the crowd pumping and stuff like that. But I just think Everton might have a little bit too much to them. Man City versus Norwich.
Come on, Norwich. Jesus Christ. Look at, Spurs were fair play to Tottenham. They were great. Man City win. That's what happens in the Premier League. But no disrespect to Norwich. Pep will absolutely go bananas about that, even though it was Spurs, and we will see, I think, sadly for Norwich, a really big reply, a really strong one at that.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Norwich, but I think it might be, trying to keep the score down. If I'm being honest, I'm gonna go I'm gonna go 5-0 to Man City.
Wow, that's a big
I do
score.
honestly think that Pep. I know they're missing. I think that centre forward, but I just think the way Norwich even played against us, they want, as you touched on in the other podcast, they just want to play football, and it's too expansive at times, and you can't do it against certain teams because you're gonna be ripped apart. Like,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the City lineup. I want to see has he changed it or has he learned that from last week? Because it was the lineup to me seemed a bit iffy. And
yeah,
Jesus has to be back in the reckoning. Sure, he does over Ferran Torres.
Ferran
Just
Torres is another. He's still learning his trade, I think, and
mm,
I see him as a wide player. Like from Valencia, he was wide. I don't see him as that false nine. Like at least with
mm,
Jesus, I'm not his biggest fan, but he does know the position. I
yeah,
think Torres was completely lost and bewildered. Like
yeah. I'm also interested and intrigued to see does he play Grealish and Sterling?
and De
Because
Bruyne as well from
it
the
didn't.
start. Imagine on top of that,
Mm,
I think he with Jack, in my opinion, if he was in our team, I think you have to give him the central kind of 10 free role, in my opinion. Let him kind of float about pick bells. On the left, I think he's very isolated and he's coming
mm,
in from only one direction. He's cutting in. Maybe leave Raheem out there on the left and have an
yeah.
option in the centre with maybe De Bruyne and Jack. And you could have even Gundogan or Rodri or anyone
Mm.
else in there that's scary,
Yeah, I think at Villa he would have had more freedom other than Dean
Yeah,
Smith in the way he played. I think at Man City, Pep would be very structured in the way he does things. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
we
So
don't
it's
know. He's not used to that.
yeah,
Take time.
mm, absolutely. The half 5 kickoff, Brighton versus Watford. Watford taking a treat to the seaside.
Yeah, that's well here. I gave Watford no bleeding hope last week. And they actually played good football. They were very direct in their play. I
Mm,
seen them on match today. Pat Sarr was very good. Um that's an interesting one. Brighton got a great win at Burnley, which I think I put them down for a draw. But I really like Graham Potter and I really appreciate the style of play that he plays as well.
yeah,
The Amex isn't an easy place. Is it the Amex it's at? Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Not an easy place to go. Watford coming off a good win though against Villa. Going down to Brighton, I think Watford would be happy with a point, but I don't see them getting it. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 1-0 Brighton. I think Brighton are gonna be hard enough to break down, but I think they'll nick it. Mopai is an awful handful to deal with as well, real handful. I think Watford might go down there, maybe looking to try and avoid defeat, take a point on the road, which would be happy at the Amex. But I do think Brighton might nick a 1-0.
yeah. I'm thinking 2-1 Brighton.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like Graham Potter. I know you like him as well. Like
yeah.
he's very, very, very good manager.
Mm. Let's move on to Sunday. We got the 2 p.m.s. Southampton versus United. United on the road trip to St Mary's.
St. Mary's is they have their days there. Like you could say that if you want to make a valid point for Southampton, but I am absolutely really concerned for them. They got the lad in from Blackburn, but look at no disrespect to Armstrong. You're asking him to come into the Premier League and he's going to give you what that he can't do that. It just doesn't happen like that. He'll take to it like away. United coming off in an absolute spectacular performance and win. The lads look great. Pogba looked great. Bruno looked immense. All of them looked like they looked fit as a fiddle. They looked hungry. The desire was there. Mason Greenwood for his age is unbelievable finishing.
Mm.
It's immense finishing. I think we could be looking at in my opinion, 3-0 United.
Yeah, I would expect a comprehensive win from United. I'd
Yeah,
expect them to continue the form
yeah.
that they had there. Varane obviously will be available. So he'll boost the side as well if he's in the squad and stuff like that. And Sancho, you would imagine, will be getting more minutes and stuff like that. So he'll find a way to unlock Southampton. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Southampton again, it's like this will be kind of foreign to them as well because coming up against United down there, they won't be able to play expansive football. They'll have to kind of hold off. And I think United will just pick them apart. So I'm thinking similar. Yeah, absolutely.
They're losing that kind of set piece where Ward Prowse probably one of the best dead ball specialists in the league, but Vestergaard is gone. Which would have been an avenue for a set piece, big, huge
Mm.
monster centre half. You take that away, you take Kings' goals away. Jay Adams, good player, but he's not gonna make the goals the two lads. Let's be realistic here. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. The other 2 o'clock now back to Wolves. Wolves versus Spurs.
Yeah. Um, okay, I rate Nuno highly. I did rate very highly at Wolves, and they were very nice to watch. Last week, I'll hold my own hand up and say I was surprised by Spurs because Nuno, it must be so difficult, but it shows the class of manager that he is, dealing with that off pitch antics and then trying to get your team prepared for the team that's trying to play him as well. And Tottenham fans, as you know yourself, they let you know how they're feeling as well. Your first home game against the champions in the league, the fans are back. You've no Harry Kane, you're up against it. And they pulled off a great win and a fully deserved win, to be completely honest. I'm delighted for Nuno, really like him as a manager. He gets, the best out of players, great desire, great work rate. Kind of similar to Klopp in that kind of way. I really worried for Wolves, to be completely honest. I know they lost to Leicester. I did pick Leicester. I think you did as well. But a foreign manager coming in with a Wolves side that's getting weaker and weaker, not stronger. Don't really know how Raul Jimenez sadly is feeling in himself. Maybe a shadow of the player that he was. Jota's gone. Nuno is gone. A lot of the steel is gone. I think Tottenham. With or without Kane again will get a result. Though I do think they'll come out with a result. I'm gonna go.
Just say that again. I missed that. What are you gonna go?
Sorry, 2-0 to Spurs.
Yeah, that sounds about right. They've also been linked heavily this week with Adama Traore, so that's an interesting
Traore is a
conundrum as well.
strange one, isn't he? He really needs to up his goals and assists for me. I think he got one or something last season, which a lot of people are like, oh, I'd like Traore at Liverpool or I'd like Traore at this club or that club. Maybe Nuno could get him, you know, into that system and embed him into the Tottenham system.
Mm.
With Luke Moura. But for me, I think he has to deliver a lot more. I don't know how you feel about that with Traore.
He does, but I mean, he had a difficult season last season. You know what I mean? The season before he was electric. So
Yeah,
that player is still there. They just have to find a system for it. And I think if you
yeah,
went into Spurs, if you played him out on that side and you had Son pushed more in and stuff like that, maybe Son could be that new Harry Kane, if you like. And
yeah,
Traore could take kind of Son's role, if you like, or something like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
So be an interesting conundrum for them. But I expect Spurs to get a win there. They shocked me last week with their play. He had them really well set up and they were
yeah,
playing a
really well
lovely,
drilled.
lovely brand of attacking football. And Nuno really does his homework and he doesn't look, is there anywhere else he knows any better than Wolves when you think about it? But like he really figured out City last week in terms of, that Grealish Sterling problem there. And that was the side he was attacking all the time and got loads of joy. So he had done his homework in terms of his study. And I think he'll do the same against Wolves. Never an easy place to go, of course. It's a tough place to
No,
go to get a result against Wolves. But I just think Tottenham might have a bit too much for them. I think Tottenham might be one of the shocks this season. I think with Nuno going in there, if he gets another couple of
yeah,
signings and if this whole Harry Kane thing is sorted out, I mean, if Tottenham could get another few players in and move Harry Kane out, they might be pushing again back into that, top six and maybe threatening the top four potentially. You know what
I
I mean?
think Nuno deserves, you know, he deserves this to be over. Like if Kane goes right, go and let Nuno bring his own striker in that he wants to work with,
Mm,
that he wants to target, like a Latoro, somebody like that kills me to say that, but
mm.
someone that I want this player and he's going to play for me and he's going to give everything because he deserves it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he needs the time to be allowed to spend the money as well.
Exactly.
So that needs to be sorted this weekend because we've only a week to go, really. You know what
Like
I mean?
you think of Tottenham against the top six, and they're usually a hiding for they get a hide off most. But
Yeah.
last week, they literally, I watched even the on the match of the day. Like, soon as City gave up the ball, they were in numbers flooding for it. They were a joy to watch,
Oh,
actually.
they were full value for their win last week. Probably the
Yeah.
tie of the weekend, 4:30 Super Sunday kickoff, of course. London Derby, Arsenal versus Chelsea. Um, Probably a great time for Chelsea to be getting Arsenal. I mean, they seem like a wounded animal there. Haven't been able to bring in the signings potentially that I want. I know that Ramsdale is potentially doing a medical at the moment, so he might sign.
Don't
Um,
get that at all. I really don't.
Yeah, it's just a weird one. They just find themselves in a really bad position, and they're having to spend a lot of money now on reasonably average stuff when you think about it. I mean, 50 million for Ben White, 30 million for Ramsdale. It's
Like they're getting who's doing these? Like, is it Edu? Or like, it's
it
absolutely
has to be
shambolic.
Edu. But I mean, they've tried to sign a number of other players as well, but they just haven't been able to do it. But I think
Lukaku coming in against Ben
Lukaku
White,
coming in
you
as
know.
well, yeah, and Lukaku coming in, Chelsea buoyant, really pumped up for this season, European champions. Lukaku coming in like a house on fire. Um, you know what I mean? I can only see a Chelsea win here, and
I
I
can
think
see this being. I'll put this on record. I think this could be very close, or it could be the end of Arteta, because
mm,
I think they could be in for an absolute hiding on
mm.
Sunday.
Yeah, I just worry for Arsenal as well because I know like the young lads had to lead the line last week and stuff like that. Obviously, Lacazette was out, Aubameyang was out,
And
Partey
they
was
don't
out
have
as
the
well.
manager though.
Yeah,
No, Arteta's probably saying they want to play, or
mm,
put us in, and they're probably saying no. He has no authority there.
mm,
They need like I said that I think they need Antonio Conte, who's going to take absolute no nonsense and get 100% out of lads. He doesn't care if they're tired, doesn't
mm,
care if they're injured, doesn't care, just wants them full on, giving
mm.
everything for the shirt.
Yeah,
We have a soft spot for Arsenal as well. It's not nice seeing it like that. Like, we
yeah,
went through an awful time, you
yeah,
know.
and did similar things where we spent big money on buying average because that's the
It's
reality of where we were. And I think
you want to
Arsenal find
buy
themselves in a
players, but
similar
at the same
position.
time, you're happy with transfer business, but then
Mm,
you're looking at the business you're doing. You sold a
yeah.
million Martinez for 20 million, and then they want to buy Ramsdale for 10 more. Like, where's
Yeah.
the bleeding logically?
Yeah, no, there's no logic in planning and thinking there at the moment. And I mean that's probably the worrying thing in the fan base more than anything. They
I think
can't see a direction in which Arteta is going. And even there looking at the match the other day, there was no pattern of play. There was no like what formation were they playing? What were they doing? There was a lot of hit and hope. You were relying on kids. And I just think there's a massive project, as you said, it requires a Conte or someone at that level to come in and shake the foundations of that place and start rebuilding it properly. They've got a back line that's abysmal for an Arsenal.
yeah,
Abysmal. I mean, they should be embarrassed that that's their back line. And I think even if Lacazette comes in, Aubameyang this week being linked with a move away doesn't sound good. You know what I mean? Lacazette very quiet. He's absent. You know what I mean? But I just think even if
as
those
soon
two
as
boys come back in,
Aubameyang, as soon as Aubameyang got that contract, he just stopped caring. I think, didn't he?
it's crazy, isn't it? The way they just switch off every time they give a big money contract to someone to stay there. Ozil was the same, put out in the cold, switched off, demotivated, the whole thing. You know what I mean? And I think even if Aubameyang and Lacazette, rock up this week and they're in the squad or in the starting 11, it still wouldn't worry me with Chelsea going there. I
No,
think Chelsea just have way too much quality now. You got Chelsea up here at the moment, flying high, going to be challenging for the league. You got Arsenal down here trying to figure out how they stay in the top 10, how they
it might
stay in
be
the top 10.
the perfect formula for Lukaku. It might be the perfect kind of curtain raiser for him to come in against, an absolute shambolic backline and pretty mediocre goalkeeper, to get him into the system, get his confidence up, he could start off with an absolute house on fire, and then he will just go from strength to strength. In my opinion, I think he's going to be top scorer in the Premier League, Lukaku.
Yeah.
I, I miss him terribly at Inter Milan. I know everyone has opinions on him. I respect however anyone feels about him, but he has improved massively, and it's not just Serie A. You look at his condition; he has so much muscle now, and he's so lean at the same time.
Mm.
His touch has improved. He can link up with another striker, which he did with Laturo, and the firepower that's going to be provided with Havertz, with Mount, with Pulisic, it's frightening. It's terrifying.
Well, just to let people know, we have a new show coming on board tomorrow as part of the Upper Tier called Beat the Bookie. And what we're
Oh
going to be
yeah,
doing
it
is
was
we're
right.
we're gonna we're gonna be giving you our picks for the weekend. And I won't give too much spoilers away, but just put it this way. In my picks tomorrow, Chelsea and Lukaku are heavily involved, and that's all I'll say as a teaser for tomorrow. But you can be guaranteed when you see my picks tomorrow, you'll know how I feel about Lukaku heading to Arsenal. Let's move on, round it out with the Monday night 8 o'clock. Monday Night Football back, of course. So we love those shows, of course, with Carragher and Neville and all the recap of the
It's
weekend
great.
and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it's really something to look forward to, like after a weekend of football.
But this is a big top six match. This is West Ham versus Leicester, 8
Yeah,
p.m. kickoff. So this is a big this is like a sort of a top six pointer, really, isn't it?
both of them will be looking at each other saying, we're not happy with a draw here. Like, this isn't one of them games where, you know, you're playing the likes of Liverpool, United, Chelsea, and you take it. This is someone who wants your spot up there in the top six, you know. This is gonna, I think this could be a very open game, very competitive game, very interesting. You know, I know we're doing our predictions, but I can't really nail myself. It's hard, you know. We could flip a coin here. Moyes, Brendan both done immense jobs. Leicester usually start really well and then sadly kind of filter off towards the end, whereas West Ham went the other way. Um, Jesus. Do you know what? I'm actually gonna put my neck on the line here. I'm gonna go West Ham 3-2.
Are you?
I am on the like. Usually, I'd be a big fan of Leicester and you know the way Brendan plays the football, and they're very hard to beat. But do you know what I think is massively missed for them? Johnny Evans at the back as well. That kind of leader, you know, pulling things together. Like Soyuncu is a very good centre half, but I just think Evans kind of knits everything together, and he's been massively missed at the back.
He's quite
I think
vocal as
without
well.
him there organising, getting people and you know waking them up and stuff, West Ham are. I never thought I'd say it, but their transition into a footballing side has been a joy to watch. I think Benarama is going to be an outstanding player this season. I think he's going to really push on. You have Bowen in there. Antonio looks firing again. Already has a goal, and I'm sure he wants to get more. You know, I can see goals for both sides. You know, Vardy and Iheanacho. What's his name? The lad off Leipzig.
Patson Daka.
Couldn't think of it. You know, he might even get in a cameo as well.
Yeah.
I can see it being I can see it kind of being going back and forth, kind of like, you know, taking shots out of each other. But I'm going to give West Ham a 3-2 and nick it.
Well, I hope I'm not going to put the mockers on this either, because I think this is going to be a goal fest as well.
Yeah, so do I,
but
yeah.
I'm going West Ham 4-3. You know, as Liverpool fans, we love those 4-3s. I think it's going to be 4-3. I hope this just doesn't turn out to be a drab 1-0 or something like that. And I hope I didn't put the mockers on it. But I think there's a lot of goals in this game. There's a lot of players on this pitch that can put the ball in the back of the net. And I'm expecting this to be a high-scoring game. But I think West Ham might just edge it, because I think they just have a little bit more of a spread, if you like. And I think
Do you think Evans is a miss?
Oh, 100%. I mean, massively, just in terms of his experience. And like, it's weird when you think of Johnny Evans as well. He's been so vocal on the pitch as well, like proper leader, like, you know what I mean? As you said, Vardy, Tielemans, Iheanacho, maybe Patson Daka. You know, you have a lot of players there with attacking prowess as well who can score goals and win games for you. But yeah, I think this is going to be ding dong end to end type of stuff. You know what I mean? I don't see this being a boring affair at all.
No.
And you got West Ham coming off a very good win up at Newcastle, coming back after being 2-0, I think, to 4-2. You know, you've Leicester kind of went through a 1-0 win, you know what I mean? Didn't look anything really brilliant. The usual Jamie Vardy goal. If anything, maybe looked a little bit sluggish, you know what I mean? But I mean, they'll have knocked that off a week later, you know, they're right at it, you know. So yeah, I'm thinking 4-3. I'm thinking this might be the game of the weekend in terms of goals.
Well, hopefully one of us is right and we're in for a thriller.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well, listen, a pleasure having you on again. This has been your Premier League Match Week 2 preview. We've put down some interesting scores there, and we've made some interesting calls. Yeah, can't wait. Football's back, baby. Let's do this. Pleasure as always, Craig.
No, thanks.